I used to think I understood value. A $50 watch tells time, but so does a $5,000 watch. So why is there such a big difference? Why do some watches cost as much as a car, while others cost less than dinner for two? It's a question I think every collector asks in the beginning, and many people outside the collecting community can't fathom and understand why. And let's be honest, one that we're sometimes afraid to admit out loud. Because deep down, we all want to believe, I'm not overpaying. I'm investing in something that matters. So today, we're gonna unpack what really drives the price of a watch. And spoiler, it's not just brand hype or expensive materials. It's about story, scarcity, soul, and sometimes even ego. So let's dive in. Before we jump in, this channel isn't sponsored by brands. It's built by a small community that values stories over specs. So if you're tired of the marketing fluff and want real talk about watches and meaning, hit subscribe. It helps more than you know, and when you hit the button, it actually changes colors. Let's start with the basics. Here's why prices can vary so wildly. 1. Material and build quality. Sapphire crystal costs more than acrylic. Gold costs more than steel. Hand finishing takes hours and sometimes days, but that's really just the beginning. Next, you need to also think about the movements. Quartz is going to be something that's going to be cheaper. Mechanical is going to be a lot more expensive. Now, when you get into the in-house, hand-decorated, adjusted in 6 positions, now we're talking watchmaker level pricing. Still, none of that fully explains why one watch is $200 and another is $200,000, because here's where it gets a little bit more personal. This is gonna be something I call a meaning tax. You see, sometimes you're not paying for the watch, you're paying for what it represents. You're paying for a heritage in brands like Patek or Rolex or Omega. Sometimes you actually pay for exclusivity, whether it be a limited run or boutique only. There's also this certain community cachet. You know, you want that, oh, you own that? Which honestly goes into a bigger thing, which is like an ego insurance. This is what I call, like I said, the meaning tax. It's invisible, it's emotional, but it's very, very real. So to really explain this, let's take 2 different watches. For one, we'll start with this, $20 Casio. And then next, we'll take a, $3,000 Tudor Ranger. Both of these watches tell time, but the Tudor was assembled by hand in Switzerland with a cost-certified movement and carries 70 years of diving heritage. The Casio, well, it's mass-produced in a factory with a, plastic resin case and, fake metal, has a digital chip. Now, does that mean one is better? Not necessarily, but one feels more meaningful because of the story behind it. The steel. You see, that story, it really adds value. And for many of us, it's the story that we're really buying. Because this watch, to me, is not only the price tag, but the meaning behind it. Now, I know what some of you, especially the non-watch collectors, might be thinking. If they both tell time, like, I'm assuming the expensive one costs more because it tells better time? And that would actually be false. Because this little Casio right here, it actually tells better time than the price that's 10 times its price. And to explain that, I'll have to get into it a little bit later. Now let's get honest. Sometimes we chase expensive watches because we just want to be seen in a certain way. Other times we chase budget watches to feel like we're beating the system. Either way, price does play into the identity of a watch. We don't just wear watches to tell time. We wear them to tell the world something about us. I'm refined, I'm adventurous, I appreciate craftsmanship. I don't care what you think, and guess what? All of those are fine, if you're honest with yourself. Now, what if the real question isn't, why does this cost more than the other? But what is the watch worth to me? A $75 Timex that you wore every day during Ranger School might be worth more valuable than a $7,000 Speedmaster. That's where real value lives. It's not in the price tag, but in the meaning it holds to you. Now, getting back to the question that I talked about earlier, why does this Casio tell better time than the Tudor, but the Tudor is worth more than the Casio? It's all about the value to you. I'm sure if you're a watch collector, you've heard someone say, well, my watch tells time, my Garmin tells time, my Apple Watch tells time. Yes, it does tell time. But does it tell who you are? When you rock something like a Casio, it might just mean you're practical. It might mean that you don't like smartwatches. It might mean that you want something more nostalgic. When you see someone with a Tudor, maybe this is a representation of a promotion, a representation of something that's special. But it also shows that you're in the know because you understand the difference in brands and you're willing to buy a watch that costs that much money. Either way, we buy watches because they represent something about us. And I think that's important because we should reframe what value is for collectors. Now, here's what I've learned. There's nothing wrong with spending more on a watch if the value gives you is deeper than the dial. Maybe it connects you to your grandfather, maybe it makes your first deployment, maybe it reminds you of who you want to become. That's value. It's not really resale value, it's not flex value, but it's real value. And when a watch gives you that, it's worth every single penny. So why do some watches cost more? Yes, it's about the craft. It's about scarcity, but more than anything, it's about what the watch means to you. So I would encourage you, don't chase the price, just chase the connection. Don't collect to impress, collect to remember. Because one day someone will hold your watch and ask, what did this mean to them? And that is gonna be priceless. So what's your most valuable watch in your collection? And if you don't collect watches, what are your questions that you still have below? And when I say the most valuable, that's not about price, but about meaning. Make sure you drop it down below and let's talk stories, not specs. Now, if you like this one, YouTube thinks that these are one of the videos that you might enjoy, so make sure to check them out. But for everything, there's a season, and for every watch, a story. Thanks for being here, God bless, and peace.